Hello ladies and gentlemen, Counter-Strike 2 is finally here with Valve really pushing the limits as to how far summer actually lasts. Now, the game hasn't really gotten the reception many wanted to receive as there are quite a few things that need addressing here. In fact, I wanted to make my video for CS2 pretty early on after its release, but there are so many things that are cropping up from the community which look quite concerning. Now, there are many ideas floating around as to what could be the main culprit for all these various problems that are occurring, but due to the nature of the problem or bugs, there isn't just one element, but multiple elements that seem to be either malfunctioning or not quite working quite as cohesively. I won't be talking about all the problems here, as there are quite a few of them, and I only want to focus on the primary ones that seem to be big deal breakers for now. And before I talk about the main issues here, I want to shortly first talk about the game itself, and the new features that have been included. Now, CS2 launched with a bright and blissful light shining down upon it. Like, seriously, the game is quite bright now, making the game a lot more visually clean and clear, which is pretty good, although I do kinda still miss the gloomy clouds that were once there. Now, the game comes with a variety of new features such as agent intros, fluid mechanics, which actually feel very cool, animated avatars, which I'm personally quite fond of for obvious reasons, and among many other things, being able to see your feet. I personally never really minded not being able to see my feet, but the community seems to love it, so yay? There's probably a Reddit page just dedicated to CS2 feed pics now. But the most important features this game offers is the new subtick rate system, the smoke mechanics, and the multiple other changes to the way guns and movement feel. Now, on paper, all of these combined should easily have put CS2 in a prime position to carry on the Counter-Strike legacy for the next generation or so. But as the light that beautifully illuminates this game, it also casts a shadow, and quite a large shadow at that. With all the features this game has not really quite working seamlessly explains why Valve really pushed this game out until the very end. I wish to point out that CSGO had a ton of problems when it first launched too, but this isn't me justifying the problem CS2 has, it's just me saying that I have genuine faith in Valve, knowing that they will fix most of these problems very soon. But yeah, most of these problems should not be happening in the first place. Now onto the main issues that I wanted to talk about. One of them being the terrible hit registration response, which can either feel super snappy or completely non-existent depending on a lot of variables. 2. The bullets not exactly landing on the crosshair when you flick, especially on the AWP. And 3. There's seemingly being a new issue that seems to have cropped up very recently is the discovery of hitboxes weirdly not aligning with the corrector models, which is pretty wacky. In the very beginning, when people were encountering all these problems at mass, everyone's gut reaction seemed to be that this is just the subtick rate system not working as intended. Now, while this is definitely a possibility, I am of the opinion that most of these issues seem to stem up from the server themselves. You see, when CS2 first launched, CSGO essentially died, and all of the CSGO servers are now working as CS2 servers. And when CS2 first launched, Valve noted that their servers ended up being so overloaded that they ended up deploying all the demo servers which are in charge of recording the games to help with matchmaking instead. And that was weird because when CS2 actually launched, it didn't really break CSGO's own record of most concurrent players playing. And this makes me believe that the servers themselves just weren't performing the way Valve thought they would. With so many features being added in CS2, it seems to have taken a massive toll on the servers, and even during the beta phase, I noticed that there were only a few regions which were actually playable. So Valve, I think, was doing a lot of work on the servers themselves, and they didn't really seem to get it working just right, and depending on what exactly is the problem, it could take more time than expected. And the overall release of the game does help them because they just weren't getting the data that they needed from the CS2 beta alone, because while the CS2 beta was at some point given to most of the community, a lot of the people were still playing CSGO because it was just a more polished experience, and your rank in CS2 didn't really matter as much. And I specifically remember when I played CS2 in beta, and I played the Premiere phone in fact, that the hit registration was absolutely shit. It did not even exist in some of the rounds that I played. Now, while I do think the hit registration and the flick issues are server related, the hitbox alignment problems seem to be an in-game issue if anything else. Now, for the most part, they seem to have fixed the crouch hitbox problem very quickly, which is great, but there are still tons of other problems that just seem to be popping out every other day, with the latest one being the Michael Jackson peak, which, let's to be honest, is quite hilarious. Now, on the bright side, the devs are doing a very good job at updating this game as fast as they can. The issues, however, seem to be popping up at roughly the same speed. Now, I reckon it will take a few months for CS2 to properly iron out everything. The game is definitely a lot better than where it was a week ago, but there's still a long road ahead, especially in the UI customizations department, as it is quite lacking from what we had in CSGO. Sadly, even when all of the other things are working in perfect harmony, CSGO's ranking system is still one of the biggest complaints in the game right now. And I personally seem to be having a very tough time in it as well. I have teammates in my team which are well below my rank playing in my team, which is completely fine if the other team has the same proportion of ranks as well, but they almost never are. And plus, with based on how old CSGO is, it seems to be that tons of people like to play in 5 stacks now, and I genuinely think that it's time for CS to build a flex mode like League does. I know it's not perfect, but it would genuinely fix many issues that CS2 is currently having with that. Now, I don't really understand why the CSGO ranking system is so out of place. I know it's a hard reset, but it seems like it's not really matching you up with the right people. In fact, when I'm playing simple competitive mode, I feel like my rank is just stuck in one singular state because it keeps refreshing my rank. I don't really know what's going on entirely, and I have seen other people have the same issue I have. Yeah, I don't really know what's going on. As far as Premiere is concerned, it has the same issues in how you're getting teammates in different proportions, but the ranks do seem to move up and down over there. But in the simple old competitive mode, ranks seem to be stuck in the same area that you get them. I don't know. Something is wrong in the system. The last thing I want to talk about are the people who used to play CSGO that are not able to play CS2 because of how their systems are no longer strong enough. And I know it sounds dull of me to say this, but CS2 genuinely needed this upgrade in graphics, as with the way more powerful games are releasing, I do think it's time to invest a little in your systems, as I don't think CS staying in the same 2010 era of graphics is the right call to make. I do genuinely hope that more people are able to play the game with weaker systems as more patches come out and more optimizations are made. But that said, games these days are pushing higher and investment is the right way to go. But the main people I do feel bad about are the students who love to play CSGO in their computer labs for fun at the end of the day. But hey, I guess you guys still have CS 1.6 in source, I suppose? That is all from me in this video. If you enjoyed it or if you found it helpful, feel free to give it a like and consider subscribing, as it does help me build my channel and pushes me to make better content. Thank you all for watching. Be kind, be humble, be brave. Take care.